this time on Whatever We Want, we talk about
every single film genre. Which genre is the best? Which is the worst? Their time goes down in the description. If you like to jump around different points in the episode, we talk everything from sci-fi to rom-coms. Enjoy! Welcome back to Whatever We Want. We review content across all medias and media, movies, TV shows, video games, and beyond to give you the most interesting behind-the-scenes insights, storytelling techniques, all that jazz, and more.
We cover everything from Disney, Marvel, DC. Without further ado, let's jump right into it.
PreBanter! I don't know what I was doing there. I was trying something different.
Why do you say it like that? You started off so confident and then went down to being like, is this the right thing to do?
I wasn't sure. How's it going?
Pretty good.
Happy Thanksgiving episode. Woo!
Yeah. Ooh,
Daniel and your
family.
For audio listeners, you're in some Thanksgiving
so
gear.
We're doing a bit with the Easter Bunny now, and this time I figured because of Ragnarok, the God of War game, I was like, I should have a pelt going.
You didn't explain the bit. That was a horrible explanation.
I'm not going to explain the bit. I'm not going to explain the bit itself, but the bit
I'm going to explain the bit. Otherwise, it doesn't make sense.
No, that's the whole point. That's the whole point. It's not supposed to, because people gotta watch for it to make sense.
No, well, the audio listeners are gonna have no idea.
Okay,
I'm
fine.
explaining the bit. So Daniel has this Easter bunny outfit that he got from my grandparents for Easter, and then when Halloween came around, I was like, let's dress up again, and he was like, okay, and then forgot completely about that conversation, even though I reminded him twice about it, and was like, oh, I still have this Easter bunny outfit, I'll dress up as that. And then we got to talking, and I was like, Thanksgiving's coming up, do you have the pilgrim thing from last year? And he was like, no, I don't have it around, I still have the Easter bunny thing. And I was like, what? And then we were brainstorming, we were like, what if you just wore that for every holiday? And so now, until next Easter, Daniel's gonna wear that for every holiday in some iteration. I kind of like how you're being creative with it, like the style of it. I did not think about that as a pelt, so that's pretty cool.
Right? Oh, I just kind of came up with it on the spot.
It's kind of like you're hunting for a Thanksgiving meal, honestly.
Yeah, and I got a big old hair.
Anyways, so yeah, and then I think we're gonna maybe do a thing that every Easter you just switch to a different holiday. So then you have to be St. Patrick's Day for a full year, but it always switches to Easter. So I don't know.
So it's there's days where it's actually on.
Yeah, one day of the year you're actually correct, but then the rest you're just St. Patrick's Day for Christmas, which is green. So I don't know. You know what? There's levels to this.
A clock is always right 2 times the day. So
yeah, but
I think it works
there's only
out.
one holiday for the year. What's the second time that 4th of July is applicable?
You're thinking too much into it. Just gotta let the words of wisdom ride into the sunset.
All right. Well, I have a little bit more pre-banter news before we jump into the main segment. Did you see the Pixar Elemental trailer dropped?
No.
Really? It looks pretty good. It's just a teaser, sorry, but it's that one where it's the fire girl and the water guy. You know what I'm talking about? That that they've been hinting at for a while.
Water fire people have been done so much.
But it's Pixar. I feel like they could do it. I like the world they built of it, and also the director of it, Peter Son, I don't know how you pronounce it, but he was the voice of Socks in Lightyear.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he directed this.
That's cool.
And I think he started out as an animator, and then I think that's really cool that he worked his way up and is now directing this film.
It's hard doing something new with fire and water characters. It's literally done all the time. When I say that,
yeah, but Pixar's known for doing new things.
As somebody going through art school and seeing people pitch different projects, stuff like that, because it's such a natural collision there. It's done all the time. It's done all the time in student films and stuff like that too. So it'll be interesting to see how this kind of works out, and maybe this will become the classic out of all of those types of films.
I kind of want to do a discussion and compare all of Pixar's films and kind of determine do you think they're kind of stagnating and settling? Because I feel like they're not innovating as much as they used to, but I don't know if that's just because technology is caught up and there's not that much more in the field to innovate on, or if
there's a lot more to innovate on.
Yeah, so do you think?
Look at what Corridor just did with the Everybody's Home video, right? There's a lot more that you can still do technique wise. And
I feel like
Pixar's
so big now that it's tough to want to innovate, but they still do a bit. So I don't know. I think that'd be an interesting conversation. But anyways, last bit of pre-banter. Yeah. There's a new Sonic Netflix show that's coming out.
Is it based off the movies?
No, I don't think so. It's an animated one. It's called Sonic Prime, and it's Sonic. I watched the trailer, and it's Sonic goes into the multiverse.
Wait, really?
Yeah, December 15th. I feel like we're in Sonic Mania right now. The movies. We just had a new game, I think, come out.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't played or anything, but Sonic. All right, cool. Good for Sonic. Thanksgiving, I'm thankful for Sonic.
So he is looking like OG Sonic. Why is Amy all robot-y? What the heck?
That's the multiverse, Amy. All the multiverse peeps.
Okay, right off the rip, the animation in this trailer Love Already with how they have Sonic with his like loop,
Oh yeah.
but in 3D. Already hyped for the animation.
I love that, I do appreciate when people are like critiquing animation, people that don't know about animation just like say anything like it's animation, like, oh, the animation is really great, and they mean like the lighting or like the set design, like what's. But I know that when you say the animation is good, you're talking about the actual like animation, like the movement.
Yeah, like the
so
movement,
so
or like the way it's
thankful.
keyed, or like the. Well, it's what I got my degree for. But like at the end of the day, it's important to understand what makes something look good, so that you can then make something that's better.
Yeah, and that's fair. Like I understand that like most like people that are just like casual enjoyers aren't gonna know all the intricacies. I just think it's funny that like when you say the animation's good, that like means anything in an animated movie, because just people don't like have an idea of it's most people. But yeah, I don't know. It's just interesting. All right, so what do you think? Do you like skim through it? You think
I skimmed through it. I think it's really good. I again overall looking really good. It's like it's just weird to see like how the quality of animation's also been improving with more studios just within the like last like 10 years. Because like I'm thinking back to like other cartoons and stuff. Like even whatever the old Sonic cartoon was, which the 3D rendering on that was like the lighting and everything was like awesome, you know?
Yeah.
But it was meant to be more like cartoony and like more jovial. Like they saw their moments here and there, I think. I didn't really watch the show, but from clips I've seen. But in this one, like in particular, I mean, it's a teaser, so you want it to be high energy,
like the old Pac-Man show.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But in this, they're showing like the the quick movements and all that kind of stuff. It's nice to see that
like a lower budget TV show can still afford that quality now, because the technology's so good and the technique's been built upon. Yeah, I agree. Well, are you ready to jump into the main segment of the week?
Yes, boy.
So we're talking about all the movie genres ever. No, just most of them. We're gonna kind of go through all of them, and just kind of discuss each one, give like a few examples from each one, talk about what we like and don't like, and kind of determine like, I don't know, what we like, which genres we like the best, I guess, what genres we like the least. Have a discussion, a chat,
Yeah, indubitably.
All right. Are you ready? Jump in. I was gonna say start with and jump in. Let's stump in.
Let's stump in right now. I feel like you have a list.
I do. Do you not?
No, I mean like you have a list of like the order and what genres you want to go in. I mean,
we don't have to, but I just have them. I kind of copied. Well, what I did is I wrote as many genres as I could think about, and then I looked up film genres, and there was a few that I like missed, and just kind of tacked those on at the end. So, all right. So first one, I've kind of lumped action and adventure together. I want to talk about both of them, but I also want to talk about their differences as well. But they're often lumped together. So, yeah. What do you think the difference is between action and adventure in your mind?
Okay, so a lot of it is location and story when it comes to the difference between action and adventure. You can have a lot of action and not have it be like the characters going around to different places and so on, right? For example, I was trying to think of a movie recently. Technically, you could arguably say like Bullet Train out of like a recent example. That's more action than adventure, even though they're on a train, right?
Yeah.
And they're moving technically. Like,
but it's not really about like where they're going.
Is the train. Exactly.
Yeah, which I think is the key of the adventure. It's like about the journey.
Yeah, so that's more action. Whereas adventure, I would say, be something, again, it focuses more on how the characters are moving around the world, wherever that world may be, and their story involving the world itself. So think of something like maybe like Uncharted, right?
Yeah.
Where they're going around the different spots. Or even like Wakanda Forever that we just watched. Like, a lot of the story there's learning about Talokan.
Really? You think that's more adventure?
It's in a way, I would say
know.
I mean, that's more, it's superheroes, so it's its own thing. So they have to do world building in that sense. But you can arguably say it's adventurous. I'm not going to say it is adventure, but you get what I'm trying to say there with the tangents.
Yeah, there's adventurous aspects of it, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so much overlap between all these genres. So just like, I feel like it's hard to just like say like, this is just a like crime movie. Like, no, there's going to be like mystery and noir elements and stuff. But I think you summed it up very well. Like, I think action and adventure often go hand in hand together. Adventures, usually there's more focus like on the journey. Like, I think like Pirates of the Caribbean for adventure.
Yes,
but like
really
also I think good adventure movies also have like good action, can be paired together. But I think Pirates of the Caribbean is more about the adventure. And there just happens to be like good action paired along with it. It's like the main driving force.
It's tough to have an adventure movie without like any big action. That's the thing.
I think you can. Like, there's some creative ways like you could just have like a fun, like small adventure, and like you make some small thing like feel really grand esque and like exciting, and that could be like a fun challenge. But like that's not going to be like a big blockbuster probably. Yeah. But yeah, and then action I think is really the big thing that all the things I was looking up said is like it's more focused on like the spectacle of like the effects and like the what's happening in the moment, not really like you said about the journey they're going on. But like I think most superhero movies I would classify more into action versus adventure, and same with like Mission Impossibles. Like there's definitely like a journey that's happening, like an adventure, so it's not like a fine line, but I think it's more about like the crazy impossible stunts that he's doing. Like that's like the appeal that you're coming here. You're not like, man, I'm really invested in like the actual like journey. Like some people are, and there's like elements, but like I'm like, no, I'm like want to see Tom Cruise like jump off this building and like will he die or something? I don't know.
Is that the shot where he broke like 3 ribs? Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, dude, the one where he broke his ankle, I watched that in slow mo.
Oh, dude, yeah.
I don't even think about that.
Yeah.
All right, so I want to ask, what are like elements of the adventure, action, and adventure genre that like you like a lot?
For action needs to be done right. Not just for the story, but also for
choreography,
physicality. Sense? Yeah, like think about it. Like you could have like goofy choreography if it fits the story, right? If the story is like something that's goofy or funny or something like that, then you can have like fighting that leads into that. I'm thinking like imagine like Jumanji or something like that. We got like Kevin Hart, he's trying to throw a punch and like hits a brick wall and he's like, ah, you know, like that's something funny, you know, that leads into it. Whereas if it's something where it's like super like intense, like you want your fighting to be intense, like John Wick, like he's streamlined, he's to the point, he's getting it done. So you need to have that match.
Yeah, I think I completely hear what you're saying. Like I think, and I agree. Like I think a lot to like the corridor videos where like they bring on stunt performers and stunt choreographers, and they like explain that like this what we were trying to do here, like we were trying to choreograph a fight and some action, like a battle scene that tells the story and isn't just there for action's sake. And they also often react. So that's I would say something I don't like. On the flip of that is like when action is just placed in for action's sake, and it's just like it kind of. I feel like subconsciously or consciously you can realize like, oh, like they just put that in there because like it looks cool, but like doesn't really serve much purpose. But on the flip of that, I love it when creatives and filmmakers like actively work to build choreography that like weaves into the story and often like has story beats in there. Like the character goes on like a journey, like they talk about on this show. There's often like a mini 3-act journey, like structure within like a fight itself. And when like creatives are working together to like create that vision, I think that's like so sick. So I like when it's done well like that, but I don't like when it's just like thrown in for like spectacle's sake, you know?
Yeah, no, I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah,
I feel like some of the best cases of that too. Honestly, I keep on thinking back to like Daredevil. Shows like that.
I'm almost done with it. I have like 3 episodes left.
Really nice.
Yeah.
I gotta give it a rewatch. But like the reason I bring this up, where it comes to mind, is because the whole point is the character's development as a superhero.
Yeah.
As he's learning to take action and where that action should be, and that also is kind of like shown throughout his. Well, the Daredevil's case throughout the entire show, but I'm talking about like cases like Daredevil that's kind of synonymous with other superheroes in that genre as well, which I also think is another reason why people are attracted to that, because it makes sense and it connects just baseline on that level, like it works systemically.
Oh, sorry, for adventure, I also wanted to just mention I want to go back and like watch like a lot of older movies, like the Ray Harryhausen films, like the Jason the Argonauts and all those, like with like early special effects. I think those were really cool and also like featured heavily like within the adventure genre. Also Indiana Jones, I think that's also really good adventure
like when we get
film.
to like picking out the best ones all the way, Indiana Jones are for me the top adventure. It's like defined the genre for me. I think in general as well.
All right, so if you could only live with one adventure film for the rest of your life,
Raiders
of the Lost Ark, really?
Yep,
without a doubt. Okay, and then on the flip, well, if you only live with one action film, like, so it could be a different film that you like consider action.
It's tough because, again, like we said, action kind of builds into a lot of things.
I consider superhero movies mainly action. So if you want to choose a superhero movie, I feel like this would be the category to do it.
But I feel like superhero movies are also their own thing because they also do a lot of other things. You know what I mean? So I don't know.
I would say it's like a subgenre of action, honestly. They have other elements in there, but yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be. Oh, man, that's tough. If I had to pick a superhero movie, right, in that case, in general, I would have to pick Spider-Man 2.
The Tobey Maguire one?
Yeah.
Or the Andrew Garfield one?
No, I'm
you chose
sorry.
Andrew Garfield one, sorry. No takebacks. You did clarify, so I'm assuming that.
But no, like if that would be like if I had to pick like an actiony superhero movie, you know what I mean? Because that for me was just not just nostalgic, but like
it's a great film.
It's a film. It's a great film.
Yeah.
I just said it's a film. Like, of course it's a
It's
film.
a film. You were right, Daniel. Good job. Moving on.
But it's tough. What would you pick as an action movie if it wasn't a superhero one?
If it wasn't a superhero one,
yeah.
Oh boy, that's the thing. Yeah, I said like superhero movies were gonna be like the main thing I classified action under. That's why I had it first on my list. Because I'm considering like I want to talk about thrillers later, and that's where I kind of classify most of Christopher Nolan's films. So I'm like, even though they have action in them and can be considered like action, I'm saving those for thriller. So I'm not going to include any of that on here. Looking up action films right now.
Again, to mine, I keep on thinking like
maybe like Top Gun or something, or
oh wait, there's so many classics I didn't even think about. Again, I don't know if they're action. They're more like space invadery, I think. Like, I went to, like, Independence Day.
Yeah, because we are going to talk about sci-fi and stuff.
Yeah, so...
But, like, Terminator and stuff. Or, like...
But that's also sci-fi. That's why I'm like,
Would you consider Dune an action movie?
Dune is...
It's like a family
tough
movie. That's more sci-fi, actually.
Dune as a family rom-com.
Yeah. It's sci-fi. Dune's sci-fi. I can't...
Yeah, it's sci-fi.
What would you consider The Matrix? The Matrix also sci-fi?
Technically, yes, but for this, I could say it's also mainly action. And the reason I say that is because it's using...
I'll say The Matrix. You can't go back. I've decided.
I'm going to say it's fine. Like, okay, here's my logic originally, right? Was like, sci-fi films standardly have like the technology being the like forefront. And I'm not saying it's not the case in The Matrix, but for The Matrix, technology, it's more conceptual than just direct... Like, oh, here's the technology that's doing this, right? But in totality, it's more conceptual than like, oh, you're in space and you're doing like future stuff. You know what I mean?
What about Speed? I haven't seen it, but I've heard great things about that. With the one where it's Sandra Bullock and Keanu Reeves on the bus, and they can't stop.
That's a good one.
They can't go under like 50 miles an hour.
You haven't seen it though. You can't say it.
I know, but I've heard great things, and it's like not.
It is really good.
It's like just really action. Good. I feel like it's not like you can't be like that's sci-fi. No, they're on a bus. Okay.
No, like it's very suspenseful, but it has good action. I would say it's not like action in a traditional sense, but also it keeps you on edge. When you first said Speed, though, the first thing that came to mind was that movie from Pixar about the snail.
Turbo? That's not from Pixar. Are you kidding me? Do not taint Pixar's name with Turbo.
Was it Disney?
I don't know.
If it's Disney, it's an understandable mistake. Come on.
I looked up Turbo Studio, and there's like 4 businesses called Turbo Studio. It was DreamWorks. Turbo was DreamWorks.
Was it DreamWorks? Okay, forgive me. It was the other big house.
Yeah. All right. Are you ready to jump into the next genre? Yeah. We got to keep it moving. We got a lot to get through. So next, I've got sci-fi on my list, baby. Sci-fi. So I feel like it's just Star Wars. I mean, like reinvented sci-fi is like being cool for a lot of people.
Yes.
It's really cool because sci-fi, I think you can combine these with other genres like action or adventure or like romance or anything really. But because it's in the setting of like either like an alien world or like a dystopian future with like cool tech, I think that adds like another element to it. So I feel like sci-fi pairs well with other things, but is also a good standalone, just in my mind.
Yeah, no, exactly. I totally agree with that. It's nice because it's the way I see sci-fi genre-wise, it's more of like setting the scene than in particular of story direction, if that makes sense. It'll give a story a place to be, but it's not going to like force the characters to be in a certain direction, right?
Okay, I think that's fair.
And I think that's another reason too why I view The Matrix as different, because in that example, right, it's technically sci-fi, but the scene is forcing the characters in a direction in The Matrix. Whereas for Star Wars, it's an intergalactic war, but you're not forcing the characters. It's kind of similar to what we have in reality, where you have different nations, different people that are fighting.
George Lucas always said Star Wars was like a space opera kind of thing. Like,
yeah.
So it's like a very dramatic movie, but it just happens to take place in this Star Wars grand sci-fi world. So yeah, that's interesting. I wonder how, like, if there are movies that like sci-fi like is like the main driving plot point. Like, you have to like understand like this one core central thing. But like I don't know. I wonder what that would look like.
I feel like the best way to do something like that would be through a film that would do something kind of like Cyberpunk, as much of a roller coaster that was. Do you define dystopian as sci-fi or no? I
think it depends on the tech. I don't know.
Because I'm also thinking about like Hunger Games in a way, which isn't really sci-fi, but like it's a different world. But there are
I don't think I'd consider Hunger Games sci-fi really. I don't know.
I feel like that question is important to ask. You know what I mean?
Yeah, let me look up. I'm just going to look up the Wikipedia definition of science fiction. Films are defined by a combination of imaginative speculation and a scientific or technological premise, making use of the changes and trajectory of technology and science. Yeah, interesting. All right. What are things you like versus don't like about sci-fi films?
The obvious likes are, again, is that you're able to set a different world very easily, right? Like you're able to have a reasonable sense of like how things should be or how things are based on what the technological state is of whatever society or people you have with, right? But that can also be a double-edged sword, because if you lay into that too much, you can disconnect from your audience if you're making it to a point that can't be relatable.
Yeah, it's a fine line, because you want them to be like, wow, make the audience think like, oh, that'd be interesting. Like, that's how that would look with like a different technology in the future, but not so much that it's like, I have no idea what they're talking about. And I think often sci-fi gets written off because that happens a lot. So like a lot of like people that I guess wouldn't be considered like nerds or sci-fi geeks or whatever, just like refuse to like go into any sci-fi movie because they're like, I don't want to like deal with that or like pay attention to that. And I think there has to be though some extremes. Like you have to have some people that are willing to like push it really far, so that maybe like, and I think that's with all experimental film, like you have to push the sci-fi boundary far, so like maybe a lot of the main general audience wouldn't be able to relate to it initially, but like early adopters and like extremist sci-fi nerds, I guess, will like start to grasp it, and maybe it'll start to trickle down. Otherwise, it's not going to innovate in the genre at all, you know?
Yeah. No, I know exactly what you mean. Yeah.
All right, I want to ask, if you could only choose one sci-fi film to watch for the rest of your life, what would it be? I'm gonna do this for every single one day. Let's just get ready.
I'm gonna say Rogue One.
Really?
It's my favorite.
You don't have any
Star
of
Wars
the knowledge of the other Star Wars films around it, though. So just the story of Rogue One stands alone on its own, you think?
Because here's the thing. Because it sets up New Hope in a way that, like, again, if New Hope or anything else wasn't out yet.
Wait, I'm just realizing. Wait, sorry. Rogue One ends with like the weird CGI Leia. So you would have no like knowledge of like why you'd be like, why did they do this CGI creature for like no reason? Why didn't they just cast someone? Because you didn't know about that. That's funny actually. Same with Tarkin. You'd be like, why does this guy look so weird?
Yeah, that aside, I think Tarkin was actually okay. Like you can still tell.
Yeah,
but, like,
definitely.
He's pretty good.
No, I agree.
I don't know. For all the Star Wars films, it's the one that for me, just story-wise, has the best beats and plays out in a very cinematically beautiful way. Oh wait, yeah, but then I don't get the jizz players.
Oh yeah.
By the way, I found there's like a figure of one in Target. Dude, the one dude's name from the band is like Frizzle Dan or something like that.
Oh, seriously?
Yeah, so I'm a part of the band.
Nice. You're part of the jizz band, okay. Jizz is jazz, but sci-fi-y in Star Wars land.
We should say that.
Yeah, it's like the genre of music. We should do film genres of music and go through them all. There's jizz, and I don't know what else would be on that list. Anyways, so you say Rogue One for yours?
Yeah, Rogue One for me.
Not anything like Terminator or
Terminator's okay. It's like cool movies. I never really got attached to them. Just like how John Carter's mom never got attached to him, but we can move on from that.
What if I was just like, for my one sci-fi film, I was like the Clone Wars animated movie? I'm just kidding. No, I'm not doing that.
I mean, hey, it came out my birthday, so let's go.
Dude. Yeah, I don't know if I could say episode 3 because I don't have the context. You know what? I think I could say episode 3 actually, because when I saw that when I was like 6, I was not thinking about the context of like the other films.
True.
I was just like, this is amazing. And I like fell in love with that movie just for it being a great movie when I was a kid. So I think I could say Revenge of the Sith actually, and like 100% be okay with it.
It was between those two. I was thinking about the context thing, and you're completely right there. Growing up, I didn't really need it. But that's the thing. Yeah. Watching it now, if I didn't have it, all the context now,
good.
Yeah. So I think that's why I'm still going to go with Rogue
That's
One.
A very fair point. I want to go back and watch a lot of the old sci-fi movies and action movies. Like,
have you ever had times where you just wish you had baby brain and you could just like experience something again for like the first time? Like,
yes. What else? What else? Science fiction films are there? There's like 2001: A Space Odyssey.
Yeah, I was gonna bring that up. Yeah,
Back to the Future.
The visuals on that were pretty good. Oh,
that's it. Yeah, dude. There's a lot of good in the sci-fi genre. Did I say E.T. already? I think I said that. I don't know.
You didn't, but that's also a good one. Again, I never really connected with it. Like, it's a good movie. Don't get me wrong.
Alien, Predator.
Good. Again, yeah.
Blade Runner.
Like they're cool.
There's a lot of cool sci-fi films. Transformers.
Transformers. Okay.
Bumblebee.
It is sci-fi, but like it's a unique pocket of sci-fi.
Yeah.
Because of one, the target audience for when it originally started, and two, just the way it's done is differently. Because it's not sci-fi in the traditional sense of setting a setting, unless you're talking about like Cybertron. But like
Avatar.
It's using sci-fi as an element to make characters, which is something that is different than what we had in other films. You know what I mean?
Tron. Would you consider? Did you see Everything Everywhere All at Once yet?
Yes.
Would that be sci-fi? Kind of like multiverse? I feel like it could be.
Technically, yes, you can claim that sci-fi.
WALL-E?
Like there's different tiers to this. Like that's more like theoretical relativity and like reality science, right? Which is something that we're still trying to define. Versus
it's still sci-fi though.
It's still sci-fi, but it's different
it's just like a different type of just sci-fi.
As compared to like building up giant cities with future metal and infrastructure and like being able to have starships and stuff like that. Like there's two different levels there, right?
Yeah. I was at a Friendsgiving last night. This is a little tangent, but we were doing the heads up game where you like sing something, like sing the lyric to a song without saying the name of the song. The person has to guess the name of the song. And it was Starships Were Meant to Fly. And we were like, blah, blah, blah. And she was like, oh, we're meant to fly. And she was like, starfish. And she was like, starfish, we're meant to fly. It was like really funny, like with 100% confidence, starfish. And we were like, no.
It's just Patrick Star like flying across the sky.
I literally was like, what would that music video like spoof look like? Like starships just flying through or starfish. I don't even know which one I said now. Now I'm confused. But yeah, I think that'd be really funny. Back to Tank.
But yeah, no, I think that's it for sci-fi for me. So what's our next win?
Next is kind of a little left field, and I feel like this is like one of the most generic ones. Like you could really consider like most pieces this. Like I would say dramatic, like drama. / I'm also gonna wrap in romance in here because I just don't want to talk about romance too much or drama.
Yeah,
so I'm
true.
like, these are kind of similar enough. But yeah, I have realized when I was preparing this list that I talk and watch mainly action / sci-fi movies, and when we get further down this list, there are some like other movies that I think are like really interesting in genre. So I think this is like opening my eyes to like want to explore, one, watching other movies, and two, like considering to like make other movies since I'm like in the film industry. So I think, I don't know, I like this episode and the awakening it's had in me, you know.
Yeah, no, I get it. I like the same way when it comes to games because I'm like, I feel like I should be playing more games, but then I'm also too busy making my own.
We could do a genre, a genre of games or like type of game episode if you want someday.
That'd be great.
Cool. What drama movies do you think about?
I don't know, like drama. Or
There's a ton of drama movies. There's like
I keep in memory. You know what I mean?
Titanic. I feel like is like the most profitable one.
I've never seen Titanic.
Bro, what? It's a long movie.
I've seen like all of the major bits, but like not together.
Okay. Dude, what I like about drama though is that like you need to have drama in like, which is basically I'm thinking like kind of synonymously thinking conflict. You need to have that in every single film.
Yeah.
I think that's cool because if you're going into like my question I've been asking for each of these, like what you like, what you don't like. I think what I like about drama is that there's so much range. Like you have pretty much unlimited like creativity where like anything can be dramatic, like any situation. It just depends on the circumstances and situations you're like putting your characters into, like no matter what the scale is. So it's really like your creativity that's like the limit to like whatever you can make like dramatic. Because like if you get an audience like invest in the stakes of your character, like invest in your character, like then anything that they want to achieve, your audience will be like there with them. So it's about like getting your audience to like invest with the character, and I think that's really cool.
I think most of the time too, though, with drama, it's usually it either goes two ways. It's like completely an external conflict. And it's like, oh, I gotta have this person do that,
or internal,
or it's an internal one.
That's like most conflict. Yeah.
Well, no. What I mean here is like it will appear to be an external one for like the majority of it, and then at the end, it's like, oh no, it was an internal problem all along with how you see yourself or how you're approaching this.
All necessarily true. Like, I think a lot of times they realize right at the end, but I think there are signs that like it was throughout the whole film, for good films at least, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, Titanic I had on my list, but you haven't seen it. Gladiator is still like action, but I feel like it's a very dramatic.
I consider that action.
Really?
I get the drama there. Yeah.
It's a lot of drama, you know. Have you seen Good Will Hunting?
No, actually.
Dude, that is a good film. That's the one where it was Matt Damon and Ben Affleck's like first film they like wrote and directed, and I think it like won the Academy Award. It was like their breakout thing, and like they just kind of did it on their own, and like it's like a really good just story.
Is that the one where it was Robin Williams?
Yeah, Robin Williams is like the
okay. So yeah, no, I have seen it. I just forgot that. Yeah, I forgot the name of it.
It's good. It's really good.
Really good. Yeah, honestly, that's probably the one I probably connected with the most out of all that. The only other like rom drama thing that keeps on coming up to my mind is that stupid one with Sandra Bullock and Ryan Reynolds, where she's the boss and then she has to marry him.
The Proposal.
Yeah, is that what
also
it is?
Came up on Heads Up yesterday. We were doing movies for another category. Dude, this Heads Up prepared me. It was like quizzing me for this today. There's also kind of like a sub-genre, like sports drama.
No.
No, I think it's interesting though. Like, I think some like Rocky.
What do you mean like boxing? Like yeah, like with
Rocky is cool. Like, it's like kind of actiony. So that's kind of like a reminder that like these movies don't have to be just in one category. I think the sports like story is like it lends itself well to be transferred into a movie because it's like they have like a very clear goal, like maybe win the championship or like get the team to work well together kind of thing. And I think that lends to like a really good story.
Do you see Karate Kid as more of a action or drama?
Ooh, that's an interesting question.
Because I feel like that's a staple.
Which, the first one, like the original?
Mm-hmm.
I think it's both. Again, like it's like a drama with very fun action elements. Oh, if I was like doing a gut reaction, I'd probably say action, honestly. But like, it's like an action drama. I feel like. What would you say?
I honestly would probably say drama.
Really?
With use of action. Yeah, and the reason I say that again leads into like the conflict is with
Daniel on Google. It goes for listing the genres. It goes martial arts, adventure, action is third, then sports, children's film, teen, romance, and then drama. So drama's 8th on the list.
Dang. But no, I feel like drama in this case because it's being used as a tool to propel the characters to how they're going to solve the conflicts. Obviously, they're going to be fighting each other, but like as he's learning throughout his time, like with oh my god,
Miyagi.
Yeah. Jesus, my brain.
Have you seen the new Cobra Kai show?
I've seen bits and pieces there. I know some people that worked on it.
It's so cheesy.
But
you should watch it. It's like it like hooks me. It's a hook you cheesy kind of thing.
Okay. I'll have to watch it when I get the time. But no, like my point is like I keep on going back to like the final fight to where it's like sweep the leg and he's like, oh, like they use the cupping and then they get him back in there. Like that's extra dramatic.
That's true.
Like, the emphasis was more on that than technically the like how they were fighting itself in a way.
What do you mean? I thought it was like super actiony when they were suction cupping him.
But you know what I mean? Like the focus was on him being able to be strong enough to be able to finish the fight instead of him just fighting.
Well, that's the thing. I feel like all movies like they need that conflict and that drama to make it a compelling story at a base level. Like even like comedies I think often have like make you want to care about like the characters at the end of the day, even if you're like laughing at them / with them. Like I think drama is just like a baseline and like conflict if you're making those like synonyms kind of.
Maybe we just make it a slider, right? Like again, like we say that like sci-fi was like setting a scene, right? This is like a slider value to where we're able to say like, hey, it's either like really dramatic or not dramatic. And that's
I feel like you need drama in every movie, though. Still, like some conflict.
I'm not saying zero would be
I'm
gone,
just saying,
but like
I'm just making that. I know you're not saying. I just want to like make that clear that we like think.
Yeah, it's hard to think of a movie without any conflict.
Probably like really bad movies.
Yeah,
it's like the worst movie ever. Is Twilight? Is there conflict in Twilight? I don't know.
That's all what Twilight is. It's prepubescent, just angst.
Angst.
It's all Twilight is all.
That's
just
another
angst
genre.
Conflict.
Angst. the like little cousin, the like black sheep of the drama conflict family. Angst.
I remember when my ex made me watch it. We didn't even watch them all, thank God. We only watched like the first one and the last one. But like, one, like, if you're going to force me to, here's my critique. If you're going to force me to watch it, force me to watch them all. That way, at least I get the thing.
I have a full understanding of why I hate them. Not
exactly,
because I'm not gonna go back and watch them on my own.
But then going from the first one to the last one, I was just like,
oh, you watched him the first one, the last. Oh, what? I didn't know that. That's dumb. Yeah, you lost your drama. You just didn't know what happened.
So there's nothing. I had no connection or anything, even with the characters that I knew I was gonna hate anyway. So it's like I hated them even more then, and I'm just like, I'm sorry. I'm so happy you're Batman now and not a freaking werewolf. But
spoilers, bro. Just kidding. All right, you ready to jump into comedy?
Am I?
Oh, funny man. If you had to choose one drama film to watch for the rest of your life, what would it be?
I'm just gonna say Karate Kid because we were talking about that for so long, and I really don't care about other drama film.
I might say Good Will Hunting, honestly.
Yeah, Good Will Hunting. I mean, okay, let's be real here. Okay, Groundhog's Day, man. Come on, there's so much drama.
That's in my comedy genre.
That's why I was trying to transition. Talking about comedy, but yeah. So, are we going to define it and then get into it? I feel like it's kind of obvious how.
Sure, define comedy, Daniel.
It's comedic.
Oh, I forgot. Comedic. I literally just looked up the best drama movies of all time, and then you said like comedy. So I was like, my brain connected like, oh, I'm looking at a list of comedy movies, and number one on the list was 12 Years a Slave, and I was like, I don't think that's a comedy movie.
From Kanye's perspective, oh man, that's kind of a bad joke.
Anyways, back to the tank. So comedy makes you laugh, right? I think comedy is like a very fine line to walk. Like, it can be so cheesy sometimes. Yeah, it's comedy film, according to Wikipedia, defined by events that are primarily intended to make the audience laugh. Yeah, so you have to really care to the audience. That being said, though, I think comedy also, like drama, has such range because, like, comedians, like, there's such a craft to making people laugh. And again, I feel like it's like drama. You can make any situation funny just based on how you present it and, like, make it relatable to the audience. Like, yeah, that is a funny situation. Like, I get up out of bread. I get up out of bread every day. And you build a scenario of like you waking up in bread, breakfast in bread or something. I don't know. Isn't that like a Family Guy spoof or something? I don't know what I'm riffing
that
with.
Is maybe honestly, I wouldn't be surprised. Seth MacFarlane, are you?
I wonder if that like I think it was a cutaway in Family Guy. I wonder if that cutaway started with like a writer being like breakfast in bread, and they like misspoke, and they're like, oh sorry, and someone else was like, wait, that's perfect. Genius. Yeah. Again, I feel like there's such range in concepts because like you can make, like I said, any situation funny.
Yeah.
And then the con is that like everyone tries it, and often sometimes like I feel like
just because you can make something funny doesn't mean you should in every single situation.
Deeper connections get sidelined for like bad / more jokes. Completely agree. Yeah. Like it's about finding the balance.
Like you gotta. I think a great artist, like comedian that does this well, obviously is like Dave Chappelle. I mean, he's like one of the goats, if not like the goat when it comes to comedy. But the thing with him is that he perfectly paces out his jokes to where he has this bigger joke most of the time that he has a punchline for, right? And he's building to it as he's telling the story. And as things go on, he gives us it's him. So like he's just generally being funny as things are going along with it. And he'll maybe give like a little sub joke here, sub joke there, but then overall that it all comes back into like the greater punchline. And that's the right way to narratively tell us a comedic story. And that's what's seen in good films too. So it's important to understand that pacing.
I do also though occasionally like just turning my brain off and watching one of those just like completely like dumb comedy movies. Like I feel like I don't know, would you consider like Monty Python the Holy Grail like a good comedy movie?
Okay, yeah. That's another thing too.
But I feel like there is like sort of a story loosely in there, but it's mainly just like moment to moment of like slapstick, like crazy, ridiculous humor.
Dude, I haven't watched them in so long. I gotta rewatch.
Dude, I told you, making this list, I was like, I need to watch other movies besides sci-fi and superhero stuff.
Dude, Mel Brooks and sci-fi. Dude, give me some Spaceballs, man.
Oh yeah, I haven't
watched that in so long.
It's another comedy sci-fi. I also have on this list Anchorman, Dumb and Dumber, Groundhog Day, and then also like a rom-com kind of sub-genre, combining our last two genres. I have on that list, I have Hitch. That's my favorite rom-com of all time. I watch it with my mom all the time. It's like Will Smith, Kevin James is in it, I think. When Harry Met Sally, also good rom-com. Like a classic one, I feel like. What are your like favorite comedies?
For comedies, I gotta say the one that sits with me the most. I think this is mostly because like I watched a lot with my family, like with my cousins whenever they came up. Was like the first Grown Ups actually.
Oh, really? I feel like Adam Sandler kind of has his own subgenre of movies.
Literally, I was gonna say Adam Sandler just in general, like his
career is so
genius,
sick. Like he just like he's like famous and like has obviously worked incredibly hard, but now he just like makes fun movies with his friends. Like that is so cool, and like people watch it, and he's just like a normal dude. Like I feel like he hasn't really got caught up in like all the Hollywood craziness, but like he's just like a normal dude, but like makes these really funny movies that's like very specific niche audience, but like I think it's great.
Have you seen 8 Crazy Nights? His like animated
I have not. No.
It's so funny.
2002?
Yeah,
oh my gosh, this style, this old man is freaking weird looking.
It is beautifully animated. Yeah, he's pretty funny. But it's Adam Sandler just in an animation as not like himself, but like as himself, pretty much. Like they animated it to look like him, was kind of funny. And then
I've never heard of this.
It's a really funny like Christmas holiday movie. It's about Hanukkah, I believe, because it's 8 Crazy Nights. You just gotta watch it. I don't want to say anything else.
I'm gonna add it to this list. 8 Crazy Nights. Cool. If you could only choose one comedy movie though to watch for the rest of your life. Yeah, if you could only choose one comedy movie to watch for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Do you consider Shrek a comedy?
Sure, you can say Shrek. I have animated as another genre later, but...
Okay, yeah, I'll say Shrek for that, because I have other stuff for animated, so that's a nice little pocket there. I feel like it's also important to talk about comedy and animation real quick.
Okay.
Because it is different. Because it's not like a person, like doing the jokes, but it's like an animated person that you have to sell first off the rip. And then you have to make them do whatever jokes or actions that are then comedic.
Yeah, and make the audience relate to them.
Yeah.
So you're saying Shrek over Monty Python?
Yes, and again, the reason I'm saying that is because you know me, I'm an animation guy.
Yeah.
So like, there's reasons for that. I need to have balance between like my animation content and my IRL, like live action content.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's a tough one, but I'm gonna have to say Shrek.
That's a very worthy sacrifice. I appreciate your sacrifice. All right, I'm gonna think of another word.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Okay, like really deep there. I appreciate your sacrifice, Daniel. It means so much to me.
All right. Next, I really would like to discuss musicals. So, I feel like you're not a huge musical guy, are you?
No, not really. No.
Do you have any that you like or have watched that you were like, that's all right?
I couldn't name them, Jake. I straight up can't.
All right, well, I have some.
High School Musical. That's the one I know.
That's your number one. Okay, so we have High School Musical.
Footloose.
Footloose is good. I didn't even think about that. Oh my gosh. Okay, I had Greatest Showman, the one with Hugh Jackman.
I do need to. That's the one I do actually want to watch.
Oh, I forgot Moulin Rouge. Moulin Rouge is good as well. Les Mis. Yeah. Another Hugh Jackman.
Okay, maybe I do have more logged back somewhere.
You just have them recessed in your memory, and you're like, I refuse to unlock it, but they're becoming unleashed. The Force Unleashed, but it's just Daniel's musical knowledge. You just you do
just
a force
starts
push.
Force pulling it out.
Yeah, force push and just music just vomits out of your hands.
Like the bit from what was it, Doctor Strange 2? When he's fighting himself. Yeah,
dude, I actually want to do an edit of that where instead of the actual music, it's just Barney or something starts playing at them. That'd be funny, actually.
Oh yeah, Sousa Cole. The one I was
gosh. Yeah. All right, next I've got La La Land on this list. I feel like that's a good.
I still haven't seen La La Land actually.
I watched that. I think with I watched that with a girl, and I think it was actually so good that I actually did. I did actually watch it. We didn't do other things. We watched
it. we were intent on making out, but instead we were like, you know what? This is a good movie.
Ryan Gosling, Maybe we did make out though, because I'm not remembering certain parts of the movie.
What happens in the third act? I'm trying to remember.
Yeah. We didn't also watch this, but there's also Muppets. Yeah, we turned off La La Land. It was all right, next the Muppets. Is there anything you like or dislike a lot about the musical genre?
Too much music. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, actually, I just realized. Sorry, you could also all of the Disney movies pretty much you could consider musicals as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Moving on.
Wow, just crap on Walt Disney's legacy of huge arsenal of films that has built theme parks and billions of dollars of revenue.
I get what you mean. like there, I feel like there's different tiers to musicals too. Like there's musicals that are like singing literally the entire freaking time, and in that case, I'm gonna be honest. Yeah, that's too much. But like, there's other times to where like it works out, like with Disney stuff, to where it's like you have more jovial moments with your characters, and I think that's where Disney does do it right. For me, if it's like nonstop singing, I'm like, I don't know. It's just a lot.
Dude, I used to be so turned off from musicals, but like I remember my mom had to like trick me to go see musicals in the movie theater with her. Like for Greatest Showman, I like love that movie now, but I didn't know it was a musical. Like they sang one song, I was like, oh, okay, that's interesting. And then the second song started like 5 minutes later, and I leaned over to my mom, was like, is this a musical? And she was like, yeah. And I was like, oh my gosh, like I needed to like mentally prepare, and I was just like,
your mom's just like, she's like, frick, he figured it out, man.
I mean, it was too late at that point. I was two songs in. I was like, all right. I like just like, I think musicals are like, it's a cool way to express emotion. Like obviously it's like a very like on the nose, like you're singing exactly what you're feeling, but like I feel like kids that maybe don't have the ability to like fully comprehend like the nuance to performance, it might be a great way to like understand the emotions being felt. But on the flip, like I feel like that can be like too overbearing where they're singing every single thing they're feeling. But I don't know, it's cool, like it's creative, like you can do so much lyrically that like maybe you can express new ideas that like would be impossible to express without the music. So you can connect on that way. And yeah, music is like really good for people. So I don't know, it's cool. If you could only choose one musical movie to live with for the rest of your life, what would it be? Dude, Footloose was a good shout.
I would say Footloose, but like I don't even remember parts of that movie. That's the thing. I'm not like a big musical guy, so I'm just going to say Footloose.
All right.
That way, if there's ever a moment where I'm with somebody else and like, hey, we should watch your one movie. What is it? I'll be like, oh yeah, it's Footloose. And they'll be like, okay, yeah, that's a good pick.
I respect that. You're like drafting your perfect movie list. Like you have to compare it to someone else. I think I might choose La La Land. Honestly, it's just like a good movie also. Like besides just being a musical. So
if I would have seen it, I probably would have said that, honestly.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Next, I've got, oh my gosh, we still have so many. Animation.
Should we make this like a series and like, because we're already like an hour in, or is this gonna be a long boy?
It'll be a long boy.
Okay. Animation. Are we just going out and saying our favorites, or are we like just defining it? I mean, animation is also kind of obvious. It's an animated film.
It's like almost beyond its own genre. It's like a medium.
Yeah. It is a medium.
Yeah. I know a lot of people write it off, which kind of sucks. But I'm like a huge, and you are too. I feel like if anyone watches this podcast knows that we're huge like fans and like singers of praise for animation in general and like the craft that goes into it, you know?
No, I hate animation. Why would you say that, Jake? It's not like I got my degree in it or
what if it's like a plot twist? Like this whole time you're just waiting to drop that bomb on me.
To be fair, I will say this. I do not like doing 2D animation. I hate doing 2D animation.
It's different doing versus
I love it. Yeah, versus consuming.
Yeah, consuming. Yeah. I had no idea that Best Animated Feature wasn't a category in the Oscars until 2002. That is really? So late.
I mean, I guess that kind of, but that kind of makes sense to a degree, because like, I mean, Disney was kind of like solo.
The only one, yeah, Disney was soloing it, and then DreamWorks and Pixar came on a little bit before, like in the 90s. Yeah, so I guess it just would have been giving Disney Oscars every year. So once I guess the competition rose, they were like, all right, let's actually make this.
Like it's not a monopoly anymore. Now we can make it an award.
Yeah, that's actually a good point. But there had been, I think Beauty and the Beast was nominated for Best Picture, like just in general before Best Animated Feature was an Oscar category. And I think that's like a huge accomplishment considering like the stigma around animation that it's like just for kids. But the fact that it was nominated for Best Feature, like that's really impressive in my mind.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you know animation, I feel like better, but like there's different categories of animation. Like you said, there's 2D /
there's 2D,
traditional
3D,
hand-drawn.
There's 2.5D,
3D,
there's
stop motion and claymation and all that stuff. Yeah.
Really anything where it's like not a person.
What do you like about the genre of animation?
Well, it's again, like you said, it's more about the medium and using it as a tool. Mm-hmm. Right? So what's nice about that is you're able to use it to leverage storytelling in different ways that you can't do necessarily with live action.
You can do things that you just cannot do. It's impossible to do in live action.
Just face value. Like visually, things are different. And things you're able to do with your characters.
Yeah, like stylized, like stretching faces, like emote them more.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, technically you could do stuff like that now with like VFX and stuff like that, but then that's also still using like 3D and stuff like that. Like with your example, like stretching faces, so like doing stuff with people's bodies and so on. But like, still, it's not the same as just strictly being animation.
Yeah.
And there's just a beauty to having a different aesthetic to it. That's really, really well done.
I think, like we said, sci-fi is like the setting that another like maybe drama piece takes place in. I think animation is even another step back, where it's like that's the medium that then like sci-fi can be the setting that a drama takes place in, kind of thing. Like that's even like another layer removed, which is just like really cool and allows for a lot of creative expression.
Through all my coding and stuff I've been doing recently, it feels like we're like setting up like an actor, or like setting up like a route blueprint for us to work off of, and then we're setting all these different parameters in which to how we can tell a story.
Yeah,
so we're like,
it's actually kind of cool. Like I like this a lot. This discussion. I think we should do another episode where we come back to this and like think like pick and choose from all of these now that we've like laid them out, because I don't think I've ever like laid these all out and like thought about them like this, which is just cool. But like I think we should lay them out and be like, how would we craft our like perfect movie, and like think of different like fun combinations, like a I don't know, horror animation or something, or like a horror animation musical. I don't know.
I wonder what that would look like. Actually, it'd be kind of funny.
Is there anything like you don't like about animation, the genre? Like you said, you don't like doing the 2D stuff, but like
okay, so yeah, that's
what
the
about
thing.
just like besides doing like consuming like anything that's like a lot of common tropes that you're like, I don't really like that.
Okay, so with it being more easily accessible for people to do,
it's like
it is getting
crappier work being done.
Yes, there's a lot of crappy shit being done, and it's getting to a point to where it's kind of like the same thing with VR too. I can use this as an analogy here, because like a lot of times people first connect with VR when they have like their phone, and they get like those cardboard, like Google
like
cardboard
the AR
or like
stuff.
That. Yeah, and like, oh yeah, this is VR. Like no, that's like, yes, it's VR, but it's not VR. You're not actually having an immersive experience when it comes to interacting or getting you into a different world, right? It's not like having a like an actual VR headset with controllers, so you're able to then interact even further because you have controllers, right? So yeah, it's kind of like that. It's like there's different levels to it, and people aren't pushing things all the way that they can. And it's easy to fall victim of this too, because like that can come to inability, like if they just don't have enough time learning about how to use the medium, to them just trying to make money, because that's true. That's what it comes down to at the end of the day a lot of time.
If it comes from a place of like we were trying to make money, like cheap, quick stuff, that's bad. Like that's bad. But I think if it's like on a journey of like they just are inexperienced, and hopefully like because it's so accessible, I think them trying is going to hopefully help them learn, and then maybe we'll just have like really better. Like a lot better animators and like filmmakers in the future, because it's so readily accessible to technology. Like I think that's a good thing. It's just in the meantime we're probably just going to get like a lot of flooded the market with like kind of crappier stuff because everyone's trying to figure it out. But that also kind of weeds out who's there to actually do it versus not. Yeah,
double edge of that. Right? I'm talking about the development of it. That's something that I'm going to sing endless praises for until the day I die, for the Sony team, for when they did Spider-Verse. They were taking elements from 2D and practices from 2D animation and bringing it over into 3D. I can get into like full detail about like how do you even render something that's on 2s when you have a camera that's moving on 1s. Right. Because that's supposed to look janky, and they came up with solutions for that. So it's stuff like that to where they're coming up with those new techniques and, again, developing more to then also push the media further. So it's not, that's the other edge of that, is what I'm trying to say. It's not just about their own personal development, it's also about pushing the media as well. Yeah. And Spider-Verse did that perfectly as a product of that.
Well, that leads me into my next question. If you'd only choose one animated movie to watch for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Spider-Verse.
Okay, what about if it's anything other than Spider-Verse? Just curious. Well, the reason I asked this is because last night
you know.
Well, that, and also last night when I was at this Friendsgiving, my friend asked me just like out of the blue, like, hey, we were talking and like we wanted to know like what if you only choose one animated movie, like your top animated movie, that's not Disney or Pixar, and I was just like Spider-Verse, like instantly, like that might be my top even with Disney and Pixar. So now I want to think like without Spider-Verse, what would be your top out of anything?
I'm trying to break out of.
You're Disney and Pixar-ified.
Yeah.
But the innovation is great, though.
Yeah, I know. That's the problem with that. Because it'd be easy for me to be like, oh, Toy Story 2 or something like that.
That's good. I would not blame you for that.
So, naturally, I want to say, like, Toy Story 2, but then I'm also thinking about, like, more nostalgic films, too. Like older
Disney
I think, like,
stuff?
Coraline. No, like, something that's, like, different. You know what I mean?
Like Wallace and Gromit.
Yeah. Or even, like, A Nightmare Before Christmas or something like that. Like that's it's still animation, but it's not, like, 2D or 3D, like, stuff that I'm familiar with. You know, that's another reason why I'm singing so high of praise of Spider-Verse, is because I'm familiar with a lot of that.
Yeah, world. The process.
So for these other like stop motion stuff like that, that's a different world to me technically. Yeah, and it's something that I have, and without knowing, largely because I don't know, I have that immense admiration for.
Cool.
So I guess I'd say Toy Story 2 if I'm going with traditional. If I'm going with 2D or 3D animation. And then if I'm going with stop motion like that, I'm actually going to probably say Coraline.
Okay. I asked, which one animated movie would you do? You gave me 3 movies.
I know. It's tough.
I know. I would choose, I think Spider-Verse, but if I'm not choosing Spider-Verse, honestly, Incredibles is a close second. I just love The Incredibles so much. Yeah, I don't know. All right. Ready to jump into horror?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Not really big of a horror guy. I can tell you my worst one that I've seen.
What?
Off the rip. It 2. I was laughing.
I've never seen any of it.
I was laughing.
Yeah.
I went with my ex, and it was so. I'm there. I'm. When you mentally prepare yourself for when you're about to really get into some intense crap.
Yeah.
It's gonna get real here. I gotta stock up.
Be real.
I gotta be real. Going to the movie all ready for that.
Yeah.
And it was so bad. I was just laughing at
not
how comical
scary
it was
at all.
It wasn't scary at all.
That's interesting. I mean, because the first one was so good.
It was they try to make it more funny at bits.
That sucks.
Yeah.
Horror comedy is a tough line to walk.
Yeah, you don't want to do that. And then it was
Isn't
just
the Rocky Picture Horror Show? Isn't that horror comedy? And they kind of do it well.
I would.
I feel like if you're doing horror comedy, you have to be more on the side of comedy. You can't take yourself seriously at all.
Yeah, and it was. That works because it's more on what's the word for it?
The comedy side spectrum?
No, it's more on the intrigued or the
it's the appeal of the experience.
Yeah, it's different. It's so different that it's
novel and unique.
Take your eyes away from it. Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. I agree with you. I'm not a huge horror guy. I do not actively seek them out at all. But I totally respect and that the place that horror movies have in the film industry as a stepping stone for filmmakers, because they are so cheap to make compared to other genres, and they get so many get greenlit. So an aspiring filmmaker can use that to launch their career and experiment and learn how to make a low budget movie without much pressure to make a well performing movie. But then some of those do perform extremely well and can just surprise you. I feel Silence of the Lambs is an example of that. That was made on a budget of $19 million, but
true.
did $272 million gross, which is a huge return on that investment. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I feel also just because it's a low budget horror movie, filmmakers are often willing to experiment with creative techniques that can help them find their voice and also just make cool things. So I think I need to start watching some low budget horror movies for that. But I just I need to get myself mentally prepared for it. So I respect the place the horror has in genres.
No, that makes so much sense when you put it like that. And again, too, I don't think about it like that because I'm not a filmmaker. But you as someone who's in that field, that makes total sense that you have that view of it structurally, of how it can help artists. And I never really thought about it like that. That was pretty cool.
Cool. I'm glad. Thanks, man.
Yeah. With that said, since neither of us really dived into it, what would you say is your top pick for a horror movie?
Well, can I list just a few, and then I'll tell you that I think are classic horror movies or good horror movies. I think, again, because I like sci-fi movies, I kind of lumped Alien and Saw into this. Well, Saw's not really sci-fi, but Alien is maybe Predator a little bit, kind of horror-esque.
Oh yeah, I was gonna ask you, do you consider Predator the first one?
I could say it has horror elements, but I'd say it's more sci-fi. I think. Yeah. But yeah, I would consider Jaws a horror movie. Kind of the way it's shot, with the unknowing of the shark.
I'm going to say yes. And that's, again, a large part of the horror is the anticipation.
True. The suspense. That's also a big thing for thriller, which we're going to talk about next.
Yeah. But also with this, it's the anticipation with the unknown risk. And that's the perfect thing with Jaws. You're out in the water, you don't know when or where it's going to hit. Until it hits.
But also, I feel we cannot say my favorite horror movie is Jaws. I feel you would just get crapped on. I feel Saw, like I mentioned, The Shining, I think that is actually my number one. I don't think I've ever seen the whole thing through, but it is such... but this is my reasoning. It's such a goated horror movie that it's been recreated in so many other movies and shows that I know the classic scenes from it just because of the impact it's had on other media as a whole.
Yeah.
So I think that's why it's earned its legendary status for me.
I don't think I've ever seen it ever. I've seen bits and pieces here.
Yeah. So what would your one horror movie be if you could only choose one horror movie to watch for the rest of your life? What would it be?
The Shrek Halloween horror special.
Gosh. I looked up horror movies and that did come up, and I was like, I'm not putting that down.
No, I don't. Okay, hold on. Let me think here.
No, that's your answer. Sorry.
I'm not lured in by that, so I'm going to say that. Yeah, the Shrek Holiday Special. Why not?
Okay.
The horror holiday one. Actually, I'll take it a step further. Right at Universal, I think there's that one ride. It's the Shrek ride, and you like. It's
Your
like
favorite
Shrek
horror
4D
movie
or whatever.
is a ride at Universal.
Yes, it's Shrek 4D. That's my.
Okay, got it. That's a really expensive movie for you because you have to travel all the way to Universal.
Yeah, so it's worth it,
Pay however much money to get into the park, walk there, wait like hours for this line.
All I remember is that there's a ghost of Lord Farquaad like haunting Shrek or you as you go out through the ride.
Me specifically?
Yeah, you.
Oh my
Just
gosh,
you.
he's
Like,
behind
you show up in the animation.
Wait, sorry, he's behind me. I have to look down.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with that. That's enough of a tangent of that. Let's just.
All right, you ready to jump into to Thriller?
Thriller night. Yeah.
I think I need to watch more thrillers. Like these are good. Like again, I think I'm gonna lump most of Christopher Nolan's films into thrillers, and I love Christopher Nolan films. So like this is like a good genre. I feel like.
I feel like we need to define it differently than action.
Well, all right. So
adventure.
thriller, I did look it up. The definition is films that evoke excitement and suspense in the audience. So whereas we said action is more about the spectacle, this is more about like suspense, like we were talking about earlier. So it's more about the emotional side of it. So like thrillers can be full of action, and I feel like that would help with the suspense, but it also doesn't have to be. So yeah, I mean Christopher Nolan films. Inception honestly might be my top choice for this. Other examples I have are like kind of mystery movies like Sherlock Holmes. I really like the Sherlock Holmes movies, especially the RDJ ones. So I'm putting those in this category along with the movie Seven. I watched that recently for the first time.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
What about you? Do you have any other thriller films jump out at you?
No, you named a lot of them pretty well. I keep on thinking about Tenet. Like I love again, Christopher Nolan because it was just so different. It was like thriller, but in the sense that like you really had to like think about how that world works with these new set of rules. Yeah, that's really what it was. You're like redefining how the world is working in a way, which is what made it so unique.
Yeah, I think I like thriller. I think I like stories that take place in like unique worlds, which is why I gravitate towards sci-fi. Also thrillers, like especially Christopher Nolan ones where like you said, like the world has like some different rule that like it's cool to see how that impacts the story. Mm-hmm. Hello, this is Jake from the future. And Daniel from the future. Hello, Daniel.
Well, technically, this is us from the past talking to future.
Okay, whatever. It doesn't matter. Oh yeah, my camera, like because we're recording so long, died for the next like few minutes, but then we get it back. So apologies for the next few minutes. You get to see some still images on the video podcast of me. Yeah, just looking goofy. Is there anything you like a lot about thrillers?
Again, it has the like comparative to horror. It still has that suspense element, which is great. But at the same time,
it's not like scary or like gory as much.
It's not. You don't have like the anxiety coming out at you. It's still there in a different sense. Like you caring about it brings you closer to the characters in that sense.
Yeah.
Instead of trying to have that feeling, wanting to pull away from the situation. You know what I mean?
Okay, gotcha.
Like if you put yourself in the character's shoes in like a horror movie, like you don't want to be in their shoes.
Right.
So the anxiety is like, I don't want to be here.
Yeah. But in thriller, you want to be like drowning in Inception.
Well, it's not like you don't want to be drowning in Inception.
But you want to like experience that world maybe a little bit more.
Yeah, you want to
more than like this chainsaw log cabin.
Not necessarily that you want to. Is that if you feel like if you were in those shoes, you could do what you need to do to get out of that situation. You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
It gives you kind of like the hero role as the audience per se. You know what I mean?
I think just for that question for me, what I like about thriller genre, I think the color grading's often really interesting and stylized on thriller movies. Like it sometimes like limits the range of tones, like to like almost monotone. Like I'm thinking like in Seven, and like Fight Club and like The Matrix, it's all like really green, and I think that's just like a cool look. And on the flip side, for things I don't like or like I think are tough about thriller genres, I think it's really tough to make a good thriller that's like compelling. Yeah. But when it's done well, it's like really cool.
No, I totally agree. I just looked up a list, and one of the ones that came up was Ready Player One.
Yeah, dude, those lists are like not always great. I don't look at the Google list. I just look at like Rolling Stones, like top 50 or whatever.
Yeah, no, that's a good one.
All right, what about Noir? So this one's gonna be like a film buff moment for me.
Yeah, this is more probably gonna be up your alley. I'm thinking more of
neo-noir.
What, like Sin City? That's probably gonna be the closest thing I get because of the tangential relation between comics and that. You haven't seen Sin City?
No, I'm sorry.
It's all right. Cinematically though, it has noir elements, but it
Do you say Nora?
no noir.
Oh, it sounded like you said Nora with your mic on my end.
It has noir elements.
I just want to quickly define noir. So noir films.
Yeah.
If you remember like Spider-Man Noir, I guess that's kind of a good baseline for people that aren't familiar with noir. Think about Spider-Man Noir in Spider-Verse, but it's like a genre of stylish crime dramas, very popular in like the 1940s and 1950s, and then kind of died off. They were often reflective of the American society and culture at the time. Well, all right, so I said it was popular in the 1940s and 50s, and then kind of died off, and then there was kind of like a resurgence, and now there's like this neo-noir movement, which is just like kind of more modern noir films that are kind of in that stylized look. I think it's interesting. Yeah. This is kind of a connection I personally made, but like I feel like emphasis on like the stylishness of these noir films, like I think at this point, film and cinema had been around since like the early 1900s for like a couple decades. So people were starting to like stand out by being creative and stylish. And I think noir was like kind of a genre that like emerged because of that. Instead of just being like, this is how you plant a camera down and do it. They were kind of getting stylish with like, this is how you light something creatively and like use shadows and like silhouettes to like evoke emotion. And so I think that was really cool that like they were starting to innovate that way. Like some filmmakers were innovating with like special effects around this time, like early stop motion stuff, but some were doing like cinematography and these lighting techniques, which it kind of like birthed noir, which I think is really cool.
Yeah.
Huge film geek moment for me there.
For me, I don't really have any other ones other than Sin City that I could probably say
I have a good recommendation for you. It is called Collateral. It's a neo-noir one that came out, I think, early 2000s.
It sounds familiar, actually.
It's Jamie Foxx and Tom Cruise. And Tom Cruise is the bad guy in this, actually. It was a very good film, in my opinion. Mark Ruffalo is also in it. But it's directed by Michael Mann. And it's just like a really good film. We watched it in like my film class to like study and analyze.
Is this a moment where Tom Cruise is like getting mugged in an alley or something like that by these two idiots, and then he like just puts them down?
I believe that does happen. Yeah, Tom Cruise has like
again, I've seen bits and pieces.
White hair or something like that.
Yeah,
yeah. I don't know. I really like that movie. Like it's just a good. I don't want to say much, but like I don't know what to say. But like it's a really good neo noir film, like stylized and a very cool, really cool concept.
Yeah,
yeah.
I'll have to give it a watch again. For some reason, I keep on going to Eraserhead. Weirdly, I don't know why.
Okay.
It's totally not noir either. I mean, it kind of is like it's more creepy actually. I don't know.
I don't think I've seen Eraserhead.
You don't want to. You should as a film buff, but
is it a guy with an eraser for a head?
No, I don't want to spoil it.
Daniel, I've got to ask you, if you only choose one noir film to watch for the rest of your life, what would it be?
It'd have to be Sin City because it's the only one I've like really seen.
All right, I kind of want to jump through a bunch really quick. So holiday movies. We're going to do a whole nother episode that's just on Christmas movies, like best Christmas movies of all time, towards the end of, in a few weeks, like around Christmas. So I'm going to skip holiday for now. I do want to mention, though, that for holiday, the Tim Allen Santa movies, you remember those? The new show, the first 2 episodes dropped.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I watched them.
I thought it was not happening until later. I thought it was waiting until like December.
No, I mean, I think it'll all be out in December, depending on how many there are, but like... Yeah, they're doing like every week. So they dropped the first 2 this past week. Yeah, but yeah, we'll talk about holidays. Also, like kind of Westerns and historical movies as well. Those are 2 different genres. This was my joke I was going to make earlier. If I could only choose one historical film to watch for the rest of my life, I would choose Back to the Future. That's going to be my historical film. Not as good because I had to rush through it. But anyways. All right, last
as long as it's not Back to the Future 3.
Yeah, it's a historical Western, you know? Last genre I'm going to talk about is fantasy. The big one we have not discussed yet. I'm gonna rattle off some films from the list. So we got Lord of the Rings, Harry Potter, The Dark Crystal, Princess Bride. I'm gonna consider Willy Wonka and can consider Wizard of Oz. There's like wide range there. I feel like fantasy is also more about like the world that like it's taking place in, and you can have like a drama happening in there.
We should also say this too, because we know that there's gonna be film buffs who are gonna hate us for this if we don't, because there's technically Star Wars is a fantasy. It's not a sci-fi, but it's a sci-fi fantasy. It has sci-fi elements. Fantasy. I just want to make that clarification.
Okay.
For anybody who's listening and is going to be like, well, actually, you know, like we know, we get it.
So what do you like versus don't like about the fantasy genre?
What's nice about fantasy is you're able to literally just generate a whole new world with its own rules in that. Yeah. What I don't like about it is that you have to generate a whole new world.
Oh.
So like there's a lot for the audience to have to like learn and
understand,
figure out
yeah.
and get attached to. Yeah.
Which can be cool when it's
So-
done well, but it also can be long, like if you think about all the Lord of the Rings. But yeah, it depends on how, like, the attention to detail you're putting into it. Anything else you don't really like about fantasy genre besides, like, you have to have a lot of brain power to process it?
Yeah. No, I mean that's the nice thing. I feel like it's about that balancing act of opening that door to this place. But if you have it so wide open, then all of it's just gonna come like flowing through, and then like it's gonna be too much. You have to balance it out
With what you want to share with the audience. Like, they don't need to know, like, how the dwarfs use the bathroom. Like, it's not important to the plot. Okay. Yeah, I think fantasy is really interesting. Like, it suits well with action. You can have really good fantasy action.
There's one thing that it's not fantasy, but Star Trek does well is with how much they show in the designs of everything.
And everything. Yeah.
Yeah, like you can even look up different diagrams and different like mock-ups of like how things are meant to like work in the Star Trek universe, and it's stuff like that towards if somebody wants to know, it's there. Okay, so
All right.
fantasy. So
we're back. Hello, I'm back video-wise, hopefully.
you're good for me.
Fantasy, Lord of the Rings, Harry Potter, Dark Crystal, Princess Bride, Willy Wonka, Wizard of Oz. Yeah.
I'm going to say Dark Crystal, and I think we need to wrap up.
Okay. Wow. Dark Crystal. I have all those. I would say Lord of the Rings. I
know you
think. Or one of them.
think-
Maybe like the first one.
Dark Crystal is so like niche and unique.
Yeah.
Like, it's so weird, but it's like it's weird in a good way, at least for me.
Yeah.
So I just think it's cool.
All right, Daniel. Before we jump into the next segment, I want to ask you, what's your favorite genre that we've discussed? Like, if you had to choose just like one.
I'm gonna have to say animation.
I knew you were gonna say that.
I have to like naturally is like
All
thinking like sci-fi,
say,
but like
say if animation
I had
we're
to.
just considering that a medium, what genre then would you choose?
sci-fi.
Okay. I see that.
I prefer the worlds. 'Cause
Yeah.
you're able to do so much with the worlds there. Whereas if you just say like, if I was to say superheroes, it's more character focused, and you have more liberty with that. But when again, I feel like this is going back to our Marvel versus Star Wars one we did a while ago, and I'd still say it like I'd prefer to be in a Star Wars universe. So it's kind of like that same ideology. Why? What about you?
I think my legit, like, if I was really thinking about this, I think I would have to say drama, because like everything stems from drama and having conflict. So like I could be like anything is that, but like that's such a cheap answer. So I think I would also probably say either sci-fi, but like thriller, that I was thinking about it, is like a closer second, but maybe adventure. I don't know. I just said like all of them. Like,
I like everything. I want a movie with everything.
I think I'm just on an adventure kick. I need to go watch the Pirates of the Caribbean and the Indiana Joneses again, and then maybe I would have a better. I wouldn't be craving adventure so much. I could answer that question better. All right. I don't have a TTTT. That's all the genres I kind of wanted to go through. You ready to jump into the draft?
Yeah.
Doing a Thanksgiving draft because it's Thanksgiving. Got my festive hat on. Thanksgiving turkey hat. Daniel's got his pelt of doom. All right. Mount Doom. I think
Say
you're
that
first.
Pelt of Doom for. I basically just imagine Doom guy like with the Easter bunny over his shoulder. Oh my god! So this time we're doing
Thanksgiving foods.
Oh yeah, that's right. What am I saying? I was going to say Disney Renaissance. I'm like, that's not right.
That's next episode.
Yeah. See, this is going to be tough.
You're first,
because
bro.
If I don't say turkey.
Are you choosing turkey?
Yeah, you have to have turkey for Thanksgiving.
You're choosing
You have
turkey?
to. Yeah.
That was not in my top 3.
Really?
Nope. I'm choosing gravy. And hear me out. Gravy?
You can have that.
Well, what? You don't like gravy, bro?
I don't like gravy.
Wow. Okay. Well, gravy, you can put it on a majority of these other things, and it elevates it. It's like the best support class Thanksgiving food ever. So like basically the rest that I get, because I have gravy, I like elevates their level in my mind at least. So yeah, you're done.
Okay,
right.
I'm gonna say biscuits.
Biscuits. Oh, I get my top 2. All right. What? You're a big fan of biscuits? Just like bread in general, or just biscuits?
Yeah. Well,
You don't,
yeah,
you don't have
breaded.
biscuits and gravy? You don't have
Nope.
gravy? You just like plain biscuits?
No, I usually do like a jam or jelly, something like that, or you make
okay.
sandwiches with like the turkey.
What if I just chose jam and jelly next, so you cannot have it?
Like, no!
Plain. Okay, that's fair. I'm choosing stuffing. Like, bro, first of all,
That is true. That is a good pick.
the ease at which you can make this dish is amazing. That value in itself, like stovetop, maybe takes 10 minutes to cook, and it tastes like amazing.
But you gotta do it right. Like you gotta do it like with the turkey.
It's great that way as well. I still get that. I get stuffing, but even if you just do stovetop, it's like super easy to. It still tastes good. And with my gravy, bro. Dream team. Our C3PO and R2. Who? What combo? Stuffing in gravy. Immaculate. What's your next one?
It's just the thing. We usually do like Spanish rice because we're Puerto Rican, so like we
You're doing Spanish rice next for Thanksgiving.
Let me just lay out for you our Thanksgiving, okay? Just so you get an idea. It's usually turkey, biscuits, some greens. Was it yams or canned? Whatever.
Yams, cans. Yeah. I'm okay with that. Not even on my list. Next on my list, potatoes. Because there's just so many ways to prep it.
You're good with
potatoes in general, like just there's baked potatoes, sweet potatoes.
I like fries. I was force-fed mashed potatoes as a kid.
From potatoes.
I like, well, yeah, but I'm not having fries for Thanksgiving.
Good, but not anymore, actually.
Okay, here's the thing. I am not
mashed potatoes with gravy. My gravy pick coming in clutch again.
I was force-fed mashed potatoes as a kid. So both me and my sister do not do mashed potatoes because we were force-fed them, and we're like, we don't. It's a psychological thing.
I could make my list just of potato items, but like if we were to split it up. But anyways,
I could never be Irish.
What's your next one?
Would be the yams.
The yams. Okay, that's I respect that pick.
It's just a nice secondary backup. Like you're talking about like gravy being a sport class. I can get that. I feel like yams is like a nice secondary to like, just have on your plate when you need to like, switch up Flavor Town.
Gotcha. Okay. Then next, I think I'm gonna choose the pumpkin bread. You know that pumpkin bread with like the cream swirl in the middle?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
That is good, and it's like feels very Thanksgiving-y to me. Yeah, that cream, man. Whew. I'm happy with that pick.
I'm going to say
I have such an unhealthy plate right now.
I feel like I end off with a dessert, right? Other than like, the yummy stuff. So like I'm gonna say like a brownie or like a cookie or something like that. I don't know
which one. You can't choose.
I'm gonna say brownies then, because like having like a nice brownie to like finish that off. Like, it's so, like,
the
cakey,
classic Thanksgiving. When I think Thanksgiving meal, I think brownie.
Okay, dude, we just get fat, man. I'm pretty good with my plate actually. With these drafts, I'm normally like, man, you took that one, you took that one. With this one,
I feel like we didn't have a lot of overlap this time.
Yeah, I got.
Except you took turkey, which would have been my fourth. I wanted to make sure I got gravy and stuffing though. I'm really happy with that power combo. Yeah. But I think for my last one, then I will choose. I need some sort of veggie on there. I feel like I just feel unhealthy, so I think I'm gonna choose creamed corn, even though that's like not healthy still. Actually, no, I'm changing it because I'm the last one, so it doesn't matter. I'm gonna instead of creamed corn, I'm doing cranberry sauce. So for my last one, I'm doing cranberry sauce. It's not my go-to, but I feel like it can shake up the Thanksgiving palate. Add some sweetness in there that might not be from some of my other options. Yeah, I'm happy with that. Ready to jump into patron shoutouts?
Yeah, hit me with them.
Cue Epic Stars Music, Bush, got patron Lori, Frank, Rick, Lisa, Evan, Tony. Thank you so much for pledging the tier. Thanks to the shout out. If you'd like to support us over on Patreon, links down in the description. Get the audio episode, early special benefits, cool perks, all that jazz, and more. Thank you, seriously, sincerely, to our patron supporters. Sorry if it seems like I'm rushing through this. I'm a little sick. My voice hurts. We have to record another episode, and we've been rambling for so long. Yeah. All right. Next. Thank you to everyone that's been watching this far. But cool comments. Ready to jump into it?
Yeah. What we got this time?
We have two that I wanted to mention. So we had Josh McIntyre on our Black Panther episode. He said, would have been sick if MJ or Ned showed up in one of the MIT scenes. I didn't even think about that. Like, Riri's going to MIT. So maybe in her series?
I would have loved to see that. Like, I was thinking about that, actually, on my second viewing. I was like, that would have been dope. That would be cool, actually.
Yeah, in Ironheart's, series. It'd be cool. Maybe, they'll have a cameo. Like,
they
what
replace
if,
Peter with
That's what I literally was saying, what if Riri replaces Peter? But also... That'd be tough for Peter, but also what if, maybe she's a genius? Maybe it's just some sciencey stuff that, unlocks their brains to, somewhat remember Peter. I don't know.
I feel like Peter just needs to get out of his pit a little bit. Like, I'm happy they put him in there at 3, But, now it's time for him to, crawl out and, I don't know, not be depressed.
Next comment was from Lunar Butterfly on our Black Panther episode as well. They said, this is definitely my favorite movie in Phase 4. I love the episode, guys. Thank you. Now that She-Hulk has been over for a while, are you guys going to talk about it? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Did you finish She-Hulk?
Yeah.
Spoilers for She-Hulk for the next few
yeah.
minutes till Cool Comments is over. I don't know if I want to dedicate a full episode to it. I'm definitely 100% willing to talk about it. I just I didn't really like it too much. I don't know.
I like what it's opening up, especially with the last episode.
Where she goes to Kevin.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty funny, actually.
It was pretty funny and meta. I did like, that finale.
I like where it's going and, like, providing more opportunities for people to get out of the MCU, technically, in certain ways.
Scott Bay. Yeah, maybe Deadpool. Take advantage of that or something.
Yeah, so it's going to be interesting to see. Also, just with how things are ending up multiversal now, that's going to be cool to see. I want to see a multiversal map. I need that defined.
Yeah, so, I mean, She-Hulk, I think it's just, like, the vision across all the episodes didn't feel very uniform in my mind. Like, there was, like, a wedding episode that just kind of felt random, and then the courtroom stuff, like, because I love Daredevil, this courtroom stuff didn't feel as, like, exciting as, like, the Daredevil courtroom stuff. Maybe it's just, like, for a different audience. That's just my thoughts. I wasn't a huge fan of the show.
I thought it was...
I worked on it, but, yeah.
It was fun. It was different. It's not something where I would, like, rewatch it.
It's not on my rewatch list, for sure, yeah.
It was different.
There's fun moments in there, for sure.
Yeah.
They said second favorite MCU Phase 4 film. Do you think their number one is No Way Home?
Probably.
Or Shang-Chi? Because I don't think it was Eternals. It could be, but I don't know.
If it's Buddy. If it's Eternals. Oh, yeah, caramba. They're probably talking about Spider-Man. I'm assuming.
All right. Before we jump into the outro, I just want to give a special shout out to all these people that have been leaving comments on our YouTube videos. It's really fun watching them and seeing people like engage with our videos. A special shout out to Josh McIntyre, Lunar Butterfly, and Zach Henry, and everyone else. But I've seen those names like a lot commenting on our videos, and we appreciate it. So thank you to you guys specifically and everyone that's commenting and just watching in general. Yeah. All right. Ready for the introduction?
Yeah. Tell me when. When we just talked about what we want to talk about, and now we're done.
Thank you so much for everything. We really sincerely appreciate it for you guys watching. We will see you next time. Oh, are you going to wear the Easter thing for Christmas too? Can you also wear like a Santa hat? I feel like you got to wear a Santa hat too.
I could do both.
Okay.
Figure something out there. Yeah.
Cool. All right, well, stay tuned. Subscribe for that. See you next time. Goodbye.
Bye.